everybody. Welcome to the Awesemo.com NFL Strategy Show. It's Monday, closing out Week 13 tonight with two Monday Night Football. Actually, no, we're not closing out. We got a game tomorrow as well on Tuesday between Baltimore and Dallas. But what we do have is a fantastic recap, the best you're going to find out there, and that's happening right now. And, well, it was a wild week. I'm Dave Loughran. With me, Josh Engleman, Adam Scherer. Going to take a look at some lineup study, ownership, the top stacks from the week, which ones played out, which one didn't. We'll do our bust report. We'll do our value report and all of that good stuff. Hopefully put you guys in a good position heading into Week 14 with only 4 games left. Josh, what's going on, man?
Not too much. This is going to be a short week for me. Coming off a nice NFL Sunday, so I'm pretty happy. As long as this isn't a golf recap show, because that one I wouldn't be great on.
Well, I'm glad to hear NFL went well for you. Who was who carried you to the promised land? And by promised land, I mean, put you in the black.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson was my most exposed wideout. That helped me out a ton. I had enough David Montgomery in cash to be fine, and then Devontae Adams went crazy. So those 3 guys carried me far enough in cash that I was profitable.
Devontae Adams is the closest thing to like a 25 touch per game running back at this point. It's insane.
He's nuts.
Alex, Adam, what about you, man? How'd the week go?
Not bad. Didn't do well in tournaments, so it won't show up on this show, but did well in cash games, which is nice. So yeah, it's always nice going into Monday with actually making money on Sundays.
Nice. Yeah, DFS for me was not great, but I'm poised to knock you out of the playoff race in our Dynasty League. That feels good.
Yeah, forgot to set my lineup in a must-win game. That's always a good idea.
Oh, you forgot to set your lineup.
Well, so I set it on I set it midweek, but then I didn't update it. So I didn't play David Johnson and I didn't play Tua.
Gotcha.
Because I thought they were both going to be out. It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah.
I've done that a few times this year where I played like McCaffrey because I thought midweek he was going to play. I played Julio last week. What can you do? It's a crazy league though. We have to play 13 players.
Right. Yeah. I'm always really bad about remembering season-long stuff anyway, once like DFS is in full swing. But yeah, this week, week 13, big week for playoff races. I forgot to set that lineup, and I forgot to set my Awesemo League lineup. Johnny Smith not helping me out in the tight end spot.
Oh man, I've been out of that one for a minute now. But you know what was happy or did make me happy is I didn't max enter the best ball on DraftKings, the Millie Maker that like you did. But I do a handful of lineups in, and a few of them were solid. And the one I'm looking to hold on to first, and I just needed to not be outscored by like 90 points this week, and I do it. But I had Dalvin Cook and I had James Robinson. So that game going into overtime was really, really helpful.
Yeah, that'll do it. I had a couple Wildcat best ball sweats. I have a lot of Russell Wilson for whatever reason in that tournament, so I thought I'd be pretty safe, week 13 playing the Giants. But yeah, he made things interesting.
How many lineups do you have poised to advance to the next round? I was curious about that. I was actually thinking about you last night since you maxed it out.
In the Millie, I'm not sure. I'm just going to go back and count after the game ends tomorrow. In the Wildcat, I know I played 10 lineups, and I have, I think, like 4 or 5 advancing, and then I have a couple that could advance.
Wait, you took first place in 4 of
in the Wildcat? It's top 2 advance.
Oh, really? Well, that's still very impressive. Josh,
yeah.
Did you do any best ball?
Not a single one.
You should do it next year. It's a lot. I mean, I don't know why. It's really fun.
You sound like my DMs from Adam 4 months ago.
I'm just telling you, dude. It's a fun format. Like
you know who's had double his best ball investment sitting in his DraftKings account for the last 12 weeks? The guy who was DMing you should play more best ball.
Yeah, but you're set up to where you can. I don't know. I've actually enjoyed it. I thought once it got down to the past couple of weeks, I thought it was a pretty fun sweat, like paying attention to some of those lineups.
Yeah, I think so. And now obviously with the playoffs, it'll really be fun because which teams actually have advanced.
Yeah, I had Joe Burrow and a couple of big injuries in one, but it's still looking to advance, which I'm pretty happy about. But there's still there's still so many teams that advance.
Yeah, it's making me want to do basketball ones, even though I told myself I wasn't going to.
Does DraftKings have basketball, best ball?
No, Underdog does though.
Okay. Yeah. Our best ball content is going to be insane next year. We've been planning all that out. But anyway, let's get back to the reason we're here. We're happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up. you haven't done so yet, just walking in the door. But more importantly, if you guys like what we do here, if you think along the way we've helped you out, if you think maybe we've helped you win some money, you make the decision, you make the lineups, you hit submit, you put the money in. But maybe we helped influence you or change the way you think about DFS, change the process a little bit. Well, hit that subscribe button. It helps us and it helps you too, because you'll always know when our stuff goes live. We'll show up on the recommended feature, the browse feed, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, if you like what we do here, hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 50,000. Josh, let's dive into it, man. Pull up Fantasy Cruncher lineup study, and you tell us what contest are we going with this week?
I've got the slant pulled up. Shout out to Slimy Serpent for taking it down.
Is that who won it? That's good
You
stuff.
think I made that up?
We have
off
some
the top of my
breaking
head?
news from the NFL.
Yes,
too.
I absolutely think you would.
Breaking news?
Greg Williams fired by the Jets.
Wow.
Wonder why.
That couldn't have anything to do with an all-out blitz and a Hail Mary situation.
By the way, you realize I bet the money line on the Jets yesterday, which is like so fucking painful.
What was the line?
I forget exactly what it was, but they were 8-point dogs when I bet it.
What were the odds? Do you remember?
I know. Hold on. I don't remember the exact odds. I don't remember what it closed at. I got it at. Hold on.
So I was listening to Simmons this morning. Go ahead, Luffy.
No, go ahead.
So I was listening to Simmons this morning. They mentioned a stat. I'm not going to get the exact amount of times that this has happened, but like in this type of game script, like down by whatever with however many seconds were left in the game, it's the first time in like 400 dropbacks that a team has ever sent 6 people.
That play call was like when you're just like playing Madden against the computer and you're just like bored and don't really care. So you're just like, screw it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. It's the first time they've ever sent that kind of an all-out blitz in that game situation in like the history of the NFL.
It was the most sickening thing I've ever seen, because it's not like it was contested. He was wide open.
Yeah.
And
didn't they do it the play before and also have a wide open guy?
And it was overthrown. And it's funny because I had said on the contrary and yesterday that, my hot take of the week was that the Jets win this game. I got him at 310. I got him at plus 310. And the like I said, I think they win this. And they tell me, and people start tweeting me, hey, great call on the Jets, Lavi. And I'm tweeting them back. The game's not over. Will you shut up? It's the New York Jets. They haven't won a game all season long. And then 32 seconds left, they come in and find a way to lose that game. But yeah, I mean, if you're sitting in my position with 32 seconds, they punt it down to like the 30, you're thinking, okay, well, the Jets, of course, can still blow this. But this looks pretty good. They just need to not allow a touchdown. There was no other way they could win that game.
You just need them not to intentionally blow it.
Right.
It's the problem with American sports.
But the crazy thing is, like, did Greg Williams, why would they fire him if that was coordinated?
Well, I don't
relations?
think it was. There's been like several analysts that have said that like that's his like go-to play in Hail Mary situations.
I think he blitzes as much, if not more than anyone in the league. So,
but like in Hail Mary situations, like that's what he does.
That's so dumb. I can't.
Is it?
Yes.
All right, Josh. Let's
who
get back
did something wrong in that scenario?
Huh?
Greg Williams.
Did he?
Yes.
Isn't it in his best interest to lose that game in theory? Like the NFL has created a situation where it's like okay to try to continue to lose. That's ridiculous.
But that coaching staff is gone anyway. Like
right. So
exactly.
Right. So what the fuck
so
does
why
he care?
does he care
I'd
about
send
getting
11. Who cares? They have no incentive to win that game.
I had a problem with the whole Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport yesterday. Like, oh man, Jets are about to win this game and lose the sweepstakes to get Trevor Lawrence. It's like, you realize that these are grown-ass men that are trying to at least retain some of their pride and not go 0-16. Like, I don't know. If I'm a player, sure, I want to get a top pick. I get that. But I don't even know half of them if they're going to be here next year. I'd rather not go 0-16. I'd rather try to win a football game. So I just think it's so silly that we look at tanking in the same vein as like, oh, yeah, everyone's on the same page to lose this game. The whole roster, everyone in the starting lineup, they all want to lose this game. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, and you saw the same thing with tweets yesterday, like because like the Jags, I think tied that game up like as the Jets took the lead. They're like, oh, the Jags wouldn't have wanted to go to overtime if they only knew the Jets were winning. And it's like, no, they still would be trying to win their game because they're professional athletes.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, guess what? Greg Davis hit 25K, just super chatted us. And we appreciate that, man. He said, your content rocks, hit a 25K win on DK. Awesome. Keith Vate says he won 23,000 in the slant. Well, that's awesome. And Greg Davis did it in the $33 5 max.
Keith Vate finished 4th.
Awesome. Congrats, man. Congrats to all of you guys that had a big week. I'm done tilting. So if we want to get into this, Josh, the floor is yours.
Relegate the Jets. All right, let's get into this. I got the lineup pulled up. This is the winner of the slant. Derek Carr, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Corey Davis, Kiki Kuti, Ruggs, Gesicki, Devontae Adams, Pats D, who hung 31.
Oh my God, it won with the Ruggs Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't even a Hail Mary.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, it was just a legit non-covered deep route.
Where is? Let me find. I want to see who else had Ruggs in the top. So Ruggs put him into first. Keith Vape got the 9th place spot as well with Ruggs. The only 2 lineups in the top 10 that had Ruggs. So shout out to Greg Williams for Keith Vape or for Slimy Serpent, I guess.
Keith Vape at least had Waller in there too, like a normal person with a Raiders stack.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I was saying like the guy that won has Ruggs, but didn't even like run Waller.
I loved Waller yesterday and somehow still came in.
I love Waller every week, play him every week except for this week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like loved him this week, just didn't play him.
Yeah, me too.
This is like, a wild lineup.
What's up?
Yeah, I was looking at it last night when it was winning. It was just like it's all plays that I like. It's kind of put together weird, but
it was the perfect week to play Ruggs too, because literally everyone was paying down towards the bottom at tight end.
You mean to play Waller?
What did I say?
Ruggs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, to play Waller at tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's been my strategy like all season long. Is I'm gonna just jam Waller in because everyone's using these trash tight ends, and then Waller plays like trash too.
How long was that touchdown from Ruggs? It had to have been like
46, 48.
What was it?
I think it was like 46 or 48.
Yeah, you're right. 46. So okay, that touchdown right there was
11.8 points.
11. Yeah, it was 11.6 fantasy points out of 16 point. What did he have? 16.4 or something?
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
So 2/3 of his fantasy production came on one play where Greg Williams decided, oh my God, that's fantasy football for you.
Slimy Serpent.
Keith Vape is going to make him happy. To people like me, it's like, oh man.
That's a wild, like Cook, Adams, and then just, pay down everywhere, basically. Pat D going for 31 is insanity.
That's nuts.
3 sacks, 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, and a blocked kick. No points allowed.
Yeah.
You know what else was crazy too? Dalvin Cook would not have got that 100-yard bonus if we didn't go to overtime.
Could have had a touchdown or 2 though, right? Before that, he got tackled.
No,
one.
Trash
but he didn't. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He'd run bad on touchdowns for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean I think this lineup, like the players in it are all good. The only thing that I like question or think is weird is like the just total lack of correlation outside of Waller and Ruggs.
Yeah.
Right.
To hit Jonathan Taylor and Corey Davis and Mike Gesicki, like that's a lot.
Yeah, and basically just it goes back to the point, like you can have a really high scoring lineup that doesn't correlate, obviously. It's just that the reason that so many people say to use correlation is because it increases your chances of that lineup. Like if some players do well, more of your lineup does well. Like this lineup, because it's so loosely correlated, like Devontae Adams did well, but then totally unrelated, you have to have Corey Davis do well and all these other guys do well. It just lowers the probability. It doesn't make it like a bad lineup per se, though. Like the players in it are all still good.
Yeah.
Slimy Serpent played 4 lineups.
Yep.
He had 100% Mike Gesicki and 0 Darren Waller, but 3 of his 4 lineups were Derek Carr lineups.
Dalvin Cook in every lineup.
Yeah.
Split between Raiders and Pats.
Jonathan Taylor in 3 and 75%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 2 of them.
I like that play. Like in theory. I actually I played a lot of Nyheim Hines instead, but it was definitely using those Colts running backs as pivots off of that Robinson or Montgomery, Booker, Gaskin range. I thought made some sense.
For sure. But isn't it wild that this guy wins it with Derek Carr? That's not the wild part. I like Derek Carr this week, but wins it with Derek Carr, yet not the number one, not the highest scoring player on the week that's on Derek Carr's team.
That's the crazy part. Like a big reason. I mean, Carr scoring 35 points obviously pushed a lot of Carr teams to the top too. But a big reason so many Carr teams are at the top is because his number one target scored 48 points. The guy that wins didn't bother using that one, just got there with other guys.
They had like 92 combined DraftKings points or something absurd.
You guys ready for this? Waller is in the lineup that finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Wow. How many of those had Carr?
Half.
Half of them?
2, 4, 6, 7, maybe more than half. 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Kirk Cousins was the other guy at the top.
Wow. Chalk was up and down. We'll get to that in a minute. But Josh, any other interesting spots here in any of these lineups? I figure if we want real quick, if there's nothing else, we can go take a look at Greg Davis's lineup. By the way, Greg, going on the jersey. Appreciate that. Let's take a look at his. It was the $33 5 max. I want to see what he played here to win that $25K.
I was about to look at our number 17 lineup in this contest, which went to Alex Baker, but that one's not good enough for the Awesemo.com website. Tom finishing 14th, slightly ahead of Alex. So, never mind. Okay. Never mind that. But okay, so what do I need to go to? What contest?
Tom doesn't get a lot of notoriety and he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
But he's like one of the foremost best players out there, and it's not even close.
Yeah. And it's just
he's really good.
It just exists like in the ether.
Yeah. It's like, he's the guy behind Awesemo, not Alex, sorry, not behind Awesemo.com that you don't really hear about, but he's always at the top of things. And pretty cool. Pretty good stuff. We have a lot of those guys. Like Eddie. 1-800-EDDIE is another one.
Real sharp.
Great player.
What tournament am I pulling up here?
The 5 max $33 on DraftKings.
Got it.
By the way, how did the Chargers score? They had 33 less yards than the Patriots and got outscored 45-0. I mean, that is remarkably tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, even when you consider that there was a punt return and a block kick touchdown for the Patriots, that's still only 14 of their 45 points.
I know. It's crazy.
I've got Greg Davis's lineup here. Carr, Cook, James Robinson, Corey Davis, Mims, Kuti, Waller, Woods, Lions D.
I like that a lot. Actually, I have no issues with that at all. I know, Josh, you said yuck on QT, but I liked QT this week. Only because he's so cheap and he's the number 2. They didn't really have many other alternatives in this game. Yeah, you can go with 12 personnel, 2 tight ends and all that good stuff, but I didn't anticipate him having a monster game like he did, but I would have been happy with 12.
Yeah, my only knock on QT was the ownership, not the play itself.
What did he come in at?
18.
Like 18%.
Yeah, that's.
I just thought he was too cheap. Like, I didn't need that additional salary. It turns out.
Right. Yeah. That's basically like Josh and I had talked about it in the morning. Like, he was a good play, I thought, and really good point per dollar. It was just like I didn't really think that I needed him. And if he had been low owned, it would have been like, okay, cool, I'll take a shot on this guy in the Houston offense. But because he wasn't low owned and I didn't really think I needed him, I was like, I'd rather just hope he scores like 10 points and that it's kind of like a dead spot. But clearly was, a good play if you needed him and he made your lineup work. Like here, paying up for Cook and paying up for Robinson, you needed some salary if you weren't taking those punt running backs.
For sure. And I'm not going to argue that. I had similar opinions with Brandon Cooks being too high owned because I know volume is a super important thing. And I do believe he got hurt for a while, right? I think he came back.
Yeah, he got hurt and came back. He had an overall just not good game, but yeah.
But more so just like, is he actually an alpha that
right.
Does losing Will Fuller help him or does it hurt him or does it just kind of keep him the same?
Right.
one game is not enough to figure that out at all.
Right.
And I'm not.
Yeah, and I jammed Brandon Cooks. I think he's my highest owned guy. I was just like, whatever, he's cheap. I'll just be different somewhere else. It's not. It's clearly reasonable to have said like, okay, I don't care about QT's ownership. I'm going to go there because he's cheaper.
Yeah. The crazy family. Thank you for the super chat, man. I think he's actually the one that did the drawings of us yesterday. And if that is the case, if I'm wrong here,
You're not
fine.
wrong.
But the drawing, if that is the case, those are really good. Sal, Emac, Alex. But I got to tell you, man, the three of us have no idea which one of us is who.
I don't think I'm on there.
I mean, I'm the blonde one. I can tell you that.
Are you?
I would think.
Okay. But you had NHL written on your shirt. So,
Here it comes. Don't do this. Now,
Well,
oh, God. Go ahead,
so
Adam. Talk about how great of an NHL tout you are.
It's just.
I'm not a great NHL talent. I'm a great NHL DFS player.
There it is.
But I think it was just like random sports put on all of the things. Anyway, that was a cool thing to do. Appreciate it.
I'll send you the screenshot after the show, Josh.
Right.
By the way, Fantasy Cruncher's new logo is really throwing me off.
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm a fan.
Okay. Do you like it, Alec or Adam? I keep calling you Alec. I do too many shows with that guy.
Yeah, I like it too. I noticed it yesterday, I guess.
I like it. I just am having trouble. I'm going to the tabs and forgetting which one is which. Let's do the
friend of the program, Jake Hari in chat. Adam is a great NHL tout.
Spencer says, Dave, Laffy is the one that looks like Bertans. He made Bertans, Davis Bertans, because that's what Adam says, but I look nothing like Davis Bertans. As I've said,
yeah,
far more.
Outside
better
of the face,
looking.
outside of the face, nothing like him.
Far better looking.
And you're definitely not as tall as him. That much I agree with.
Right.
Probably can't
Don't
shoot
get me
threes
started.
like him either.
Don't get me started on Dustin May over here.
Oh, that's just so mean. So mean.
So we got the chalk report, Josh. If we want to go do the slant, the millie, let's do that. Let's go to the millie. Let's move around a little bit and see what ownership looked like in the millie maker. I think there's some interesting stuff to be found here. And ultimately some of the chalk hit and other pieces of chalk really, really came up short. And if you had a lot of them, you could have been in trouble unless you mitigated it with that, huge Darren Waller performance and Kike Qt, a couple of other guys that could have vaulted you to the top and masked some of the bad numbers.
By the way, stop me if you've heard this before. The winner of the millie was a single bullet.
Oh my God. Has that it feels like that's the fifth or sixth time it's happened this season.
Yeah, it seems like it's happened a lot. Second only played 6 lineups too.
Brandon
First
Adams
left 500 on the
finished
table. That seems
third.
really weird for a single bullet.
Wait,
Did
sorry,
Brandon
what's
Adams
that,
really
that
double up his lineup and finish third?
Must be nice.
Say that again, Josh?
Brandon Adams has tied with himself for third place with the same lineup.
Really?
I don't even know how to do that. That's got to be like he pasted wrong.
Probably ran out of time or something.
Is it the same?
But only
score
two.
or the
He played
same
150. How do you get like?
Josh, is it the same score or the same lineup?
It's the
Maybe
same
he plays
lineup.
maybe he played like 75 lineups twice.
Let's find out.
He tied with himself for 33rd.
He tied with himself in a couple spots.
Yeah, he tied with himself a lot. He triple tied with himself in a few spots.
Very good.
He had 4 twice, 3 a bunch of times, 2 a couple times, and then like a ton of single lineups. I don't know what he's doing there. No rhyme or reason,
really
but it was
weird.
enough to get to third twice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the key takeaway is that you should play your best lineups multiple times if they're going to finish at the top of a tournament.
Could you
Derek
imagine
Carr,
if he finished first with it? I mean, like
He would have gotten an extra $100,000.
By the way,
that's wild.
Another Jets player in the top 3, and it wasn't even good. Rashad Perriman had 3 fantasy points. Brandon Adams had Derek Carr, Dalvin Cook, David Montgomery. So 2 of those guys were chalk, 28% apiece. Rashad Perriman, Corey Davis, Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller, Aaron Jones, that was big in that 4 p.m. game with that long touchdown run once the Eagles had virtually given up, and the Patriots with 31.
Jones was one of my higher exposed running backs. So when I saw that like long play pop up, I was like, whew. Because it wasn't looking great before that.
Yeah.
That was good for me as well, for sure. The $1 million winner, another Derek Carr lineup, Josh, and another Darren Waller lineup. That was a skinny stack with Darren Waller, and that was it. No run back, which I think was fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also has the Minnesota Jags Robinson Jefferson pairing.
I like that.
Looks good. Congrats on having $1 million more than you had yesterday.
Yeah.
And several 100,000 less when April rolls around, but I wouldn't be complaining about that.
Yeah.
What do we have?
That depends on if he does December right or not. He still has 3 weeks to lower his tax burden.
Very good point. And he also has plenty of time to lose a lot of that money.
Right.
Like you said, a month.
No doubt. Dalvin Cook, 28.4% owned, most owned player on the slate. Bunch of guys in the 20s, though. David Montgomery just behind Cook. Ferkser, Woods, Eckler, Cooks, Tanyan, and Kupp, all 20% or higher. If you want to round up, you can get Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and that's it if you want to round up. Nope, and Derrick Henry. All over the place there, actually. Like a lot of just mediocre performances plus Cook, Montgomery, and Adams. I mean, Cook getting to 27 is wild. 32 carries.
It's funny, though, how much a bonus can make a difference, because he had 89 yards, I think, going into overtime. And if you break off like a 15-yard run plus the bonus, that's 4.5 right there. And then I think he had another 8 or 9 yard reception. That's a couple points right there. That adds up really, really quick.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw happen. By the way, he says Josh is the second one in the drawing. And Jake Hari says, yeah, Josh, he did that in other tournaments too. Someone was telling me he does that as a strategy sometimes, talking about Brandon Adams. So that's an interesting thought.
He's smarter than me, so I assume it makes sense. I
was going to say, I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah, no. Certainly not. It makes no sense to me, but I'm also going to say that Brandon Adams is probably correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it, but I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, for sure. What a strategy, especially when it works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
To see that, if that would have been double bullets in one, we would have had a hell of a time talking through this.
Matt, that Anthony Ferkser play came through pretty nicely, but it's funny because Darren Waller was so big that most weeks Anthony Ferkser would be in like all the winning lineups just because he's going to allow you to get to anything else you want at 10 fantasy points. But I wonder if there were any doubles where it was Ferkser and Waller and then just monster performances everywhere else because people were able to pay up for Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams. I'm sure there's something like that.
I doubt it, though, because you had QT for I guess you're still $1,000 more, but you could go Waller QT and then still get the Adams Cook and QT smashed Ferkser.
Luckily, we have this information. 1,157 lineups in the Millie had that combination.
Which combination?
Ferkser plus Waller.
Okay.
5 of them made the top 100. 1 of them got to 10th.
Okay.
To your point about Ferkser, in a lot of weeks being a useful score, that's the point that Josh and I had made on the morning show. It was it's a great spot for Waller, but there's literally one tight end to pay up for. So just the probability of the best approach being paying down at tight end is so high because you literally just need Waller not to have a monster game. And then, Waller scores 30 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, no question. There's no denying that whatsoever. And that's why I think we all agree. I really, really liked Waller. You could go back on all the shows. I think this is the week that Waller blows up. But it's so hard not to, especially when I was hand building some of these lineups for the 3 max and single entries. I'm building stuff and I would continuously come back to if I go from Waller to Ferkser, I can pretty much do anything else I want.
Right. And the thing too, especially if you're talking about multiple lineups, it's not like you had Ferkser or you pay up to Waller. It was, you had a million, you had Ferkser, Akins, Goddard, Gesicki. Like you had all these like 4K or less guys that had reasonable expectations, or you sacrifice running back / wide receiver to lock in on Darren Waller and hope that he doesn't disappoint. It just probability wise, I think made a lot of sense. And like you run this week a lot of times, you're gonna need those value tight ends a lot. I think it just didn't work out here.
Yeah. Liquid Demon says, why would you play 2 tight ends? I generally do a lot to limit that. Like if I'm crunching, I'll set a lot of rules where there are very, very specific tight ends that I will allow in the same lineups together. I don't know if that's right. I really don't. Maybe it's completely wrong. But that's usually what I do.
I'll do it. Like I'll play Kelsey and Waller together.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. There are a few things that I will allow for, and right. That's one of them.
Yesterday I allowed for 0 tight end, like double tight end pairings.
Right. So, Josh, we had Dalvin Cook and David Montgomery both. Did Dalvin Cook come through? I think you'd have to argue kind of because what you got to around that, and you look at the winning lineups. I feel like most of them had Cook. Montgomery came through in a big way. Those 2 scores were huge. Ferkser, all in all, was fine, but Waller kind of X'd that out. Woods, Eckler only had 10. I think Eckler, among ownership, was probably your biggest bust of the week. Him, and even more so than Cooks, because he was a lot more expensive than him.
You mean to tell me that 10.8 fantasy points was not enough for him? 8 carries for 36 yards?
That is exactly what I mean to tell you, yes.
Oof. Yeah, that was a rough one for Eckler. Definitely. I mean, him and like, it's weird. You look at Ferkser like 10 points, but one of those is at 2,500 and the other one's at 7,100. So yeah, Eckler, pretty big bust. I mean, Cooks was a bust. Tanyan was fine because he's a tight end. Cooper Kupp is not ideal in a GPP with 15 fantasy points. It's kind of bleak at the top.
And kind of wild though. Tanyan came in north of 20%.
Yeah. 5 targets in his last 3 games. All 3 games with a touchdown.
Yeah.
He was 13% in the slant.
He was 13 in the slant and 21 in the millie.
Yeah.
Can you pull up Aaron Rodgers' ownership in the slant compared to the millie?
15% in the slant.
19 in the millie.
Okay. Well, that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
I'm saying that seriously because the Aaron Rodgers and Tanyan were probably paired a ton. But
what was Adams in the millie?
19.9.
Okay, 19.7 in the slant.
Huh.
Robert Tonyan is still 4th in scoring among all tight ends this year, which is just absurd. So 8 touchdowns. He is tied with Travis Kelce for the most touchdowns of anyone at the position. So
having 3 in one game helps.
Yeah, right. But like you said, though, hasn't he scored in 3 straight games too?
He has. He scored in the first 3 games of the season and the 3 most recent games of the season. Hit a little bit of a lull in the middle.
I had very, very little Devontae Booker, so I was fine with him not doing anything. I wish I had more Justin Jefferson.
100 yards and a touchdown, baby.
Oh, nice. There you go.
You should be watching that show.
I was actually I came in around the field on Jefferson, which surprised me because I'm typically not as high on him as the field.
Yeah, I had some lineups like in the $100 the single entry spy. I think I had like 170 and didn't cash. So it's like,
yeah. I was really heavy on a lot of the chalk of like the highest owned guys because I was so heavy on like the Kyler Hopkins Arizona game stack that I just played chalk around it.
Right.
Obviously did not come through.
No, my one way to get different was Drake over Montgomery. And I didn't anticipate them being that bad offensively for like almost the entire game. It was almost, there were like 30 seconds left in the first half and Murray had 1 completion.
Yeah. It was his first pass of the game for a 60-yard touchdown.
Exactly. Yeah. And I didn't like Kenyon Drake still had, I think 15 or so.
Yeah. He scored.
So he wasn't the reason, but when you look at it in context, the fact that it was to get him instead of David Montgomery,
Right.
that was one of the reasons. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I thought that like running back spot was really interesting yesterday because you had like so many. You had a few guys that like projected about the same with Montgomery, Gaskin, and Booker, but then you had guys that projected a little bit lower, but had the same range of outcomes. Like there were so many ways you could pivot that I think a lot of it probably just came down to your overall strategy. Like if I were playing chalky or stacks, I would have been looking to pivot away from those guys pretty heavily. But since I was just jamming in like unowned Murray and Hopkins stacks, I just played the top projected guys.
Exactly. Yeah, I went a little different than that. Sucks. What are you going to do? But I had, and I should have just gone Derek Carr too. I made that mistake. I think he was a clear good play, and it's easy to overlook that sometimes.
Yeah.
Josh, who were our top fantasy producers on the slate overall compared to their ownership?
Yeah, Darren Waller leads the charge, 48 fantasy points, just an absolute bonkers performance. 17 targets, 13 catches for 200 yards and 2 TDs. Just insane, absolutely insane. Corey Davis, second, 38.2 fantasy points. Really nice game. Devontae Adams, a couple quarterbacks, Carr, Baker, Tannehill, then Pat's D at 31, Justin Jefferson at 30, Stafford at 30.08. That's everybody north of 30.
Okay.
I was underweight on the top 6 scorers. That's how you put yourself in a good position.
I had a bunch of Corey Davis. Didn't matter.
I thought I did, but I didn't.
Yeah, who? Corey, you said?
Yeah.
DGFDAGDA says.
I think
Brandon
Laffy
Adams
just had a stroke.
Yes, I was about to say, what the hell is
Did you
happening
fall
right
on
now?
the keyboard?
Brandon Adams has lost millions in poker, and he's lost millions in DFS. Yet everyone thinks he's some type of smart guy just because he went to Harvard.
No, that's not the only reason why.
No.
I don't know.
I definitely think he's smarter than the guy in YouTube chat.
Is he down millions?
I also don't think that's the case, but I don't really know.
I
Could
wonder
be.
where that information comes from.
I doubt it.
Seems unlikely to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that there is definitely sometimes the illusion of certain people being better than they are, because you oftentimes will see somebody, you only hear from certain people when they win. And a lot of times, Adam, you'll see a really big win, but if that's only coming every so, how many months, people remember like, oh man, he just won 100,000, but not the volume that he's playing every day. So there's certainly an illusion to be had there in some spots, but
yeah, definitely. In this case though, like, I don't think people even really talk about him in the context of he's a great DFS player or something. People talk about him being smart because if you've ever talked to him or listened to him talk, he's very clearly smart.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? Liquid Demon says, don't insult chat. Yeah, Josh.
Don't make it easy.
Man, these are good people. We got good people watching these shows. Show some respect.
I am only disrespecting the guy with random letters as his name. It's like, the hiding behind the keyboard guy. Literally. His name is just smash the keyboard a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I'm trying to bail you guys out. And then Justin Eastman comes in and goes, I think it's funny. You guys said absolutely no Henry Ruggs. And then he's in the winning Million Maker lineup. Dude. Oh, I can't. I'm going to end the show right now. I'm trying to be gracious, Josh.
Well, why, man? Don't bother.
The guy had 4 fantasy points on the last, and then in the last play of the game, the Jets go all out blitz in what would be a incomplete pass 99.9% of the time against any other team. And Henry Ruggs is wide open for a 46-yard touchdown reception. That's why it was so crazy, because there's no reason. Look, for anybody that won with Henry Ruggs, I'm happy for you. If you watch the show, that's awesome. But please, let's not pretend that not having Ruggs or not recommending Ruggs was the bad call because of what happened in the fight. I mean, that's as bad as a beat you can get. You're someone like me that bet the money line, or just somebody that didn't play Ruggs.
He scored 16 fantasy points. You could have had a wealth of other people in that spot. He didn't. Yeah. He's not Waller. It's not like we all came on here like, you should not be playing Darren Waller. That's not what's happening here. Anybody else could have been Henry Ruggs. Anybody.
Yeah, I'm never going to pretend like I am close to the smartest person around, because I'm not. But I do know logic when I see it. And there are just certain spots where, like, you know, luck happens. Sometimes people get lucky, and that's great. You need a little bit of luck. But I don't know. You gotta be shitting me if you're going to use any other example. Use my Kenyon Drake pivot off of David Montgomery to flame me. That's fine. Like, I can take that heat. And I don't even remember.
It kind of goes back to, like, if you're going to either victory lap or like shit on things in hindsight, it's a lot better to be doing it based on like the opportunity the person had as opposed to what their actual score was. You know, if you want to say that saying a guy that got 4 targets yesterday was not someone that you should play or not a great play, you know, I don't think like pointing to the guy with 4 targets is someone that you should be saying you were wrong on.
I mean, they literally fired the defensive coordinator 12 hours after it happened. What more do you need? I don't know.
I want to know who he has pictures of, because that guy will get a job forever. And it's not exactly like he hasn't exactly been a great dude for the NFL over the past decade plus.
Yeah, and like when he was the Washington defensive coordinator like a decade ago, and he had like a good reputation then as a defensive guy, and then like the Bounty Gate happened, and then everyone kind of figured out that he was also a terrible defensive coordinator on top of it, but he still keeps getting jobs.
Let's see. Yeah. How many places has he been? You ready for this? All right. So Jets defensive coordinator is the current, or was the current job. I'm going to work backwards. Interim head coach for the Browns, D coordinator for the Browns, D coordinator for the Rams, defensive coach for the Titans, defensive coordinator for the Rams, defensive coordinator for the Saints, for the Jags, for the Redskins, the head coach of the Bills, defensive coordinator for the Oilers, and then the Oilers again. Dude's everywhere. Everywhere. What kind of dirt does he have on Paul Tagliabue and whoever the hell else has been at the top of the NFL?
It's a good question, and one I could not tell you.
Oh my God.
Hey, one last thing before we head out. I guess I'm just seeing this. Yeah, I totally did not look at it. I didn't realize that Chris Carson was in the winning Millie Maker lineup. And I think you went over it, Josh. I just didn't hear it. I did not know he was in the winning Millie Maker lineup.
I didn't know he played yesterday.
And you know what else?
Yeah, nice receiving touchdown.
Yeah.
You know what else?
No.
Double tight end. The winning Millie Maker lineup was double tight end.
I didn't notice that.
Tanyan plus Waller.
So I guess sometimes it works. Like, I never would have ended up with that, but
I could have.
That's why I didn't win a Millie.
I wouldn't have wanted like Tanyan plus Ferkser. I think if it's Waller plus X, it's not like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, that's like yesterday I said it so that I just couldn't pair tight ends. But typically my rule is like, if one of the tight ends is actually a wide receiver, then I'm okay with pairing it.
Yeah.
Right. You know, one other thing too. Gino says DK, he was cheap. 6,300 for Carson was easy. I don't think
there was like 15 good running backs in there. I was on Carson yesterday. Like,
I'm fine with Carson.
On the show, I played like 12%, but it's just such a like there was like 10 plays that were about the same in that price range. You can only roster at most 3.
Right. The point I was making was, and I wasn't even really making a point, was just more so I hadn't seen Carson in any of these winning lineups that we had gone over throughout the show. This one has no Cooks. I think Derek Carr being only 4.9% owned is just too low. The Jets are terrible. I don't care how bad the Raiders passing game is. Derek Carr's had a couple blow up games this season, and sometimes all you need is for him to do that. I said the same thing about Ryan Tannehill. Like, Ryan Tannehill, I know they like to run the football, but you can't just look at a game and be like, okay, we've all talked about, like, they want to run the football, but you can't just assume that they're going to get off to a start where they get up early and they run the football easily. And they didn't. As a matter of fact, they were from behind early on, and Tannehill threw the ball a ton.
I would guess Carr's ownership got pushed down a little bit because of the combination of Devontae Booker being popular and people not playing quarterback and running back together, plus the most common roster construction being paying down at tight end takes away Carr's only real receiver. So I would think that he probably
Ruggs
got
was
the
a
field.
real receiver, man.
Yeah, on the last second of the game, he was awesome.
That's not how you
And by the
drew
way,
it up. You got to learn more about game scripts, my friend.
Those things happen, right? Like it happens all the time. DeAndre Hopkins, Hail Mary. There's no reason to get upset about that stuff. Sometimes it's going to benefit you.
Richard Rodgers, Hail Mary.
Richard Rodgers, Hail Mary. There are times where it's
brutal.
going to benefit you, and there are times where it's not. Usually, it balances itself out.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I get a Hail Mary for a few $1,000s off.
The moment that rolled off my tongue, I'm like, yeah, I don't remember the last time it's helped me at all.
I've never seen one of those go up thinking like this might be it. But
Yeah,
I've certainly see it go up and be like, this is going to cost me thousands.
Yeah, no, we're all the Travis Fulgham owners in these situations.
Yeah, I was like 4 days ago.
Off his hands.
Yep, that was 4 days ago.
Yeah. Had Fulgham, didn't have Wentz, didn't have Rodgers. It was great.
Yep. Just did this one.
Well, it's still fun doing these shows, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Get us at least over 100 here. We got 355 watching. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And we got a giveaway happening on the site today over at Awesemo_com on Twitter. Check the pinned tweet out. All you got to do is guess who's going to have more passing yards, Josh Allen or Nick Mullins. That's the easy part. And then we'll pick a random winner from those who get it right. I don't know, Josh, maybe you should go contrarian. Go with Nick Mullins, because if you are right, they're going to be randomly selecting way fewer people. And you're getting an entire year, a full year of Awesemo Plus NFL subscription, all of our NFL content.
Well, given that the last one we did had a quarterback that didn't play, it's going to be a little bit harder this week than not taking Lamar Jackson for last week. It's good to see that this isn't Jim Kelly versus Steve Young or something, or we would have had a tough time. Although it is the Niners, and every time that I roster them heavily, particularly in showdown slates, whoever starts as the quarterback doesn't finish as the quarterback. I mean, seriously, it's happened twice this year where whoever I was loaded up on was not the guy under center when the game ended.
I know.
So who the hell knows who's going to be the quarterback for the Niners at the end of this?
I have no idea. Steven says, great show. Does Fantasy Cruncher show what the best optimized lineup would have been? So essentially saying, do they show the optimal lineup?
If you want to go into lineup rewind, it does. Do we want to know what that is?
I can already tell you what it is. But
how? I mean, it's got to have like some random morons in there, does it?
Hold on, I'll pull it up right now.
I'm doing it. I have it right now.
Well, I was okay.
So we have. I just got to take all my old rules off.
I went on LineStar app, but they changed everything up, so usually I can find it right away.
All right. So
and it's all way different now. So.
If you would have had this one, good job to the public. Derek Carr, Ty Johnson, David Montgomery, T.Y. Hilton. So shout out to the boss man for finally getting that one. Corey Davis, Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Pats D. Obviously, you needed Ty Johnson.
How many points did that lineup score?
298.14.
I played 18% Frank Gore. I'm going to go ahead and victory lap those Ty Johnson points.
Gore had a carry.
Yeah.
That's the way to describe it.
I think he only had, maybe he had two. I thought he only had like one carry. I don't know.
He definitely got hurt on the first drive.
Yeah.
So might have had one.
Is there any ownership on Ty Johnson?
Frank Gore getting hurt is the best thing that could have happened to I don't know. Maybe it's the worst thing that could have happened to the Jets, because Adam Gase is a moron and would have just kept running him out there no matter how inefficient he is.
Is a moron, or is he the smartest guy on the planet for tanking for the first pick in the draft?
No, because he's not going to be there.
Also true.
If I'm Adam Gase, I'm pretty sure that the writing's on the wall. I'm like, hey, let's win some fucking games. You know, I want to screw them before I leave.
All
I'm
right,
going to bend the Jets over before they kick me out the door. That's what I want to do.
Ty Johnson was in 33 lineups.
Oh, wow.
Let's find out the highest that it finished.
I'm surprised he was in any at all. Had to have been dummy lineups.
Ty Johnson. So the highest ranking Ty Johnson lineup finished top 1,500. Well, top 1,600. Spreader 44. You ready for the lineup?
You're going to bending him over.
Yeah. So, oh my God. So Sam Darnold, James Robinson, Ty Johnson, Perryman. So that's a hell of a Jet stack. Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Darren Waller, Cooper Kupp, Pats.
That's a much better lineup than I would expect from someone that has Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson. Right. If you just gave one context clue of, hey, Ty Johnson's in the lineup, what else do you think is in there? I would not have expected any of those guys to be in
right.
there.
I mean, that is a fantastic lineup to look at. Just to get Ty Johnson with the Darnold Perriman stack just feels a tad incorrect. Ty Johnson had
that's what makes Ty Johnson feel incorrect
week.
to you, is that he also had Darnold and Perriman.
Touche. I mean, of the 33 lineups that have Ty Johnson, Spreader 44 had 12 of them.
Oh my God.
There is one person today bragging about his Ty Johnson stand that he knew it was going to happen.
Can someone find out, is
great.
Ty Johnson's jersey number 44? Is this just like him or his brother or something?
Right? Yeah, I don't. So wait, he had more than a third of all Ty Johnson exposure in the Millie Maker.
Yes. I'm looking.
Ty Johnson went to Maryland. I didn't know
Huh?
that. Ty Johnson went to Maryland. I had no idea.
Huh.
I mean, this is.
Thank you for that.
Wild. Multiple Ty Johnson lineups.
He's number 25. Number 25.
Wait, how many lineups did Big Spreader play?
33.
He played 33?
Yeah. And one third of those lineups have Ty Johnson. I feel like that's just a mistake.
And there were 35 total Ty Johnson lineups, right?
Yeah.
In the tournament.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe he misread some old news that Frank Gore was out or something.
Maybe he thought he was playing T.Y. Hilton.
I just assume it's he accidentally hit the boost on the wrong person.
Maybe that's happened to me before, and I've caught it. I look at my exposures and I'm like, why is this guy? And then you see that, you've accidentally done something and you put yourself in a bad spot. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, this guy went full on Jets onslaught with the Raiders runbacks. Darnold, Johnson, Perriman, Mims, Ruggs, Waller.
What? What did he score?
It's the third best lineup, 180.
No way.
That probably beat 140 of my lineups yesterday.
Yeah. He had a lot of Ty Johnson with another wideout from the Jets. A lot of Jets D is showing up here. Here's one lineup that has Ty Johnson and Mims without any other tie to the rest of the game. This is one steaming pile right here.
You will find it's really fun to look at some of these lineups because you are going to find some insane stuff and insane lineups that actually finished relatively high.
I have a new idea for a segment before we get out of here. This is going to be the final one.
Let's hear
I want to look at the worst lineup in the Millie that wasn't a full throwaway, something that
I love that idea.
Finally, we can go over some of my lineups.
Josh, let's do it now. That's a lot of fun. And we actually did that last year, but we do it not every week. We'd go and look at the bottom 3 or 4 lineups. And sometimes, and especially in the high stakes tournaments, sometimes they can be really well constructed lineups and you just run so bad that all of your players have done nothing.
I'm going to do my best to find it. It gets kind of hard. There's a bunch of people that didn't put their lineups in. Some of these are clearly placeholders.
Do it on a higher dollar tournament.
You don't want it in the Millie?
What?
Oh, I want it in the Millie. I want to see somebody that put together a lineup that just failed from top to bottom. When people post their golf lineup and all 6 guys missed the cut.
We can prepare for that, but now that we're on the spot and we're trying to do this quickly, let's do the 555 Millie Maker.
I think we should touch on 3JA here, who this lineup is essentially real. He had 2 guys that went negative.
Wow.
Herbert, Henry, Gore, DK Metcalf, Valdez Scantling, Mike Williams, Trey Burton, Lat Murray, and Chargers D. Valdez Scantling and Chargers D both in the negatives.
That's insane. What did that score?
37.16.
No, the whole lineup?
Yeah, the whole lineup.
a whole lineup.
That's why I don't want to look at like
God.
real tournaments because we get
The next one is like an actual legit lineup.
yeah Herbert, Henry, Sanders. That one.
TVLADXX.
Yeah.
Herbert, Henry, Sanders, Demir Bird, Josh Reynolds, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Keelan Cole, Bengals.
Yeah.
39.
Yeah. This is fun. A couple of Fitzpatrick lineups at the bottom. They clearly don't count. I mean, you're going to see a lot of like
It's all Justin Herbert.
and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
By the way, the worst lineup in the Fit 555 milli, WJM 51979. I feel like, by the way, all of the worst lineups are going to be Charger stacks, or at least most of them.
With
right?
Derrick Henry.
Yes. So we got Herbert, Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry, Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Keenan Allen, Zach Ertz, DJ Shark, and Bengals.
What lineup are you looking at?
The 555.
You're not looking at the right bottom lineup.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe I didn't filter it right. I guess I did.
Worst lineup in the 555 goes to Peter Gibbons.
Oh, really?
Herbert, Eckler, Devontae Booker, Perriman, Kupp, Myers, Hurst, Keenan Allen, Titans D. 54.96.
Oh, you're right then. Okay. I filtered and just scrolled to the bottom. I guess you have to do it a different way.
And like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that lineup other than the fact that it sucked from top to bottom.
Yes, other than the players that didn't do well, the lineup's good.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's rough.
Obviously not you wouldn't expect that to be, well, I mean, like that's, first and last are kind of the same thing.
Okay, like which of those guys do you look back and say, put yourself in yesterday's position before submitting lineups, before lock? Which of those guys were you not interested at all in?
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, me neither. And I wasn't interested in Myers either, but I get it because it was a Chargers game stack.
Yeah. Hurst as the 4K option in a lineup that is already wildly contrarian seems aggressive to me.
My worst lineup scored 71.86.
71.86?
Yeah, also a Charger stack with Myers.
There would only be like 7 lineups below you in this one. Kudos.
If you guys want to check all this stuff out on your own, by the way, we have the Fantasy Cruncher add-on at Awesemo. It's pretty awesome. Like, I mean, it really is. There's so much you can do, not just optimize lineups and improve your process 100-fold, but this lineup study, the lineup rewind, Fantasy Cruncher rewind, all that stuff is super important and really beneficial. That's why we love doing this show. But at Awesemo, we've got the ownership, we have projections, and if you did get the add-on, our ownership and projections are built in to Fantasy Cruncher because of the partnership. So like if you get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, you don't have to go and import all of the projections and ownership into it on your own. You can access it straight through Awesemo with Alex Baker, #1 ranked DFS player, his ownership projections and his player projections, and it makes it way easier. And I think that's why people like to get the add-on through us. You're cutting out the middleman. You're eliminating a step in the process, which is what you're like or what you want. It streamlines it, and it's pretty cool stuff. So not just football, but you can use it for basketball coming up. Any sport out there, Fantasy Cruncher's got it. So check that add-on out when you go over to awesemo.com/join and check out everything we have to offer. All right, Josh, anything else? Adam, anything else?
Nope.
No, I'll have my lineup review article out somewhat shortly, and then Josh and I will be back me and somebody will be back at 3:30 for the Washington and Pittsburgh game.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's I didn't forget about the game because I just did a 45-minute strategy show with Matt Gajeski. Check that out. But I forgot that you guys are starting early today.
And
yeah, one of us is.
My showdown videos are live too, so go check those out. That's for the Bills-Niners game.
Yeah, check those out. They are huge for people. I call them smoke break videos. You're at work and you're taking a quick smoke break. Now, maybe I would be, Josh,
I've never taken one in my life.
Well, that's not the point. Usually smoke breaks are like 5-10 minutes, and that's why I used to love
dumpers, maybe
smoker, because I'd be like, hey, let me get a 10, 15, 5-minute smoke break. But those are what I'm saying is those are the perfect types of videos that, say you're taking a dump at work, right?
Yeah, it's a dumper.
You're firing one off. you got like 10 minutes and you're like, okay, let me get some quick insight. Go straight to the DraftKings showdown or straight to the FanDuel showdown video, and you got what you need.
Yes, do that. Go watch my video while you take a dump.
Yes, you should. And you should be proud of that.
It's a metaphor because my videos are the shit.
That's not the metaphor I was going to use, but I do agree it's a metaphor.
Cameron says that Cam Akers call almost paid off. He could have had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I think it's still paid off, though, because I was literally like the only person I've ever heard talk about him. And if you picked him up in season long or other leagues, you're huge. It's huge. But also, he was so cheap that he definitely didn't hurt you if you went with him over a Devontae Booker or something. He only had like 5 or 6 points less than James Robinson, and he was 3,000 less. So I'll take a victory lap on that. Like I said, beat me up for my Drake call. I'm fine there. Matthew Erickson says going from 1.75x speed, catching up to actual live speed is so jarring. Laffy sounds plastered. Well, I am, dude. It's noon. All right, guys. We've gone way longer than we normally do, but it's been a lot of fun. This video has been picking up steam lately, Josh. We've actually, usually late in the season, the views start to drop on these type of shows, but we're picking up steam. So why not?
I mean, this is as good as it gets, so I get it.
Yeah. And despite what Josh says, we still love you guys. We want you to hang out. I want you to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And, we're all friends here. It's a great community. We'll see you back here next Monday on the strategy show. Total brain fart there. Being plastered will do that to you.
We'll do it again in 7 days.
We'll do it again on Monday, but not this Monday, next Monday. But these guys are going to be back at 3:30. There's no reason not to stick around. Live before lock, followed by live before lock for tonight's 2-game slate. Check out the strategy show, Josh's showdown videos, and a whole lot more. We'll talk to you guys soon.